You've mentioned wanting to return to this series if it's ever updated or rebooted, but I'm wondering, would it be called Twice and Again or Once and Again?
Yeah,
Again?
maybe. That's what I was going to say, like Once and Again squared.
Exactly. Welcome to Couch Surfing, the show where marvelous guests look back at their big roles, their little roles, and everything in between. I'm here social distancing with Marin Hinkle. Marin, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Lola. I'm really, really happy to be here with you.
It's going to be fun. Let's do it.
I'm not going to tell you who messed with me if that's what you think. I'm not that kind of girl.
But you know who it
You're
was.
a baby
Oh
acting alongside
gosh.
the late, great Jerry Orbach. What goes through your mind when you look at this clip?
I'm so moved to see Jerry. It's funny, I was a dorm counselor around this time at NYU, and his son, Jerry's son, Chris, was one of my students that I was taking care of. And when I got this
Really?
role, I think I wept. It really was like one of the first things I ever did on television. But back to Jerry, I think I asked Jerry to sing. He had been in Fantastics for his youth. And I asked him to sing a song from the Fantastics, and he did a whole soft shoe tap dance and sang Try to Remember Sometime in September. And I just wanted to hold him and say, will you marry me? I did.
You almost proposed to Jerry.
I
love
almost
it.
proposed to Jerry Orbach. I think he was married at the time, but yeah, and I was 25.
All right, up next.
It's always sad when things
Oh,
don't
my
work out that you
gosh.
want to work out, and nobody's
Another great,
in these
Stephen
situations.
Weber.
Another man who you just kind of want to propose to, right? Marshall Herskowitz and Ed Zwick did this show, and they had done 30-something and produced My So-Called Life, and Winnie Holtzman wrote Wicked, and she was, and her husband Paul Dooley was on this show, and then of course Celia Ward, Billy Campbell, Stephen Weber, Evan Rachel Wood when she was a baby. I remember watching Evan Rachel Wood do one of those black and white kind of interview things. She was probably only about 12. And I think she sneezed in the middle, or she adjusted her hair. And I turned to Ed, who was directing, and I said, it's like everything she does is so perfect that you can't imagine any other choice or any other person making another choice that would be more perfect. And I do think that there was something about her that was like a sprite from another planet that had landed, and she just is open to any possibility. And that was beautiful to watch and beautiful to learn from.
All right, up next.
Did you give my son a $25 chip?
I have to say, when we sat down to do the pilot read-through, I had never done a multicam sitcom. And so I was really afraid. I didn't consider myself a funny person. And Angus,
Really?
Angus would be beside me, tickling me, telling me jokes. And he would grow from a little boy that was, 3 feet tall to a 6 foot tall kid. And every single time when we were backstage getting ready for those shots, he would create levity for me. And I loved him for that. I loved him for everything, but he was so loose and so absolutely unassuming, and so not like some child star that was filled with self-consciousness. I don't even think, hardly he knew he was even doing a TV show. It just felt like he was just alive there. It was great.
And just having a good time.
Yeah.
I mean, this show was one of the biggest shows on television, and you did get to play the nagging ex-wife. Did this introduce you to a whole new audience?
That's so funny you asked this, because I had a child. I basically would take him to parks and put him on playgrounds and watch the mothers walk away from us because they were scared of me. People were
Really?
scared. Yes.
Oh, no.
People. And when Ben, my son, turned whatever age, 7 or 8, when he could actually be with it enough to see what was happening, he said, Mommy, I don't think they like Judith. I think they're nervous around Judith. So I don't know if you should still be Judith, because you're going to have more friends.
Welcome back to Couch Surfing. I'm still here with Marin Hinkle. Marin, shall we continue?
I'd love to.
Yeah.
I want you always to remember that your sister Laura is very
All right. Well,
wise.
I will say something about Sarah Silverman. When I was pretty much a really youngster, had tested for a television pilot. She was testing with me, and I listened at the door, something you should never do, to let yourself hear somebody else when you're up for the same role. And I listened in the door, She went completely off script. We had like 10 pages. I don't even think she said one line that was written down. She was so funny. All the execs in the room were like, I could hear them laughing and crying. And then I walked away and thought, I should just like throw the towel in right here and say, if she doesn't get this role, like I don't even want the role. She's so good. And years later when I auditioned, so it was like 20 years later or something, I auditioned to play her mom in flashback scenes. I told her that. And she said, you know what's so funny? I got the role, which I knew she had. And then she said, and then I was fired. And I was like, no. But it just goes to show, like, as funny and brilliant as Sarah is, like, sometimes we all lose our jobs. You know what I mean? We're not funny enough. But she is a comic genius. And to play her mom, that was such an honor.
So you played her fictional mom. Did she give you any pointers,
mom.
that funny Sarah Silverman?
No, she was so, like, she's a very childlike and deeply appreciative, and I find very positive person, which is funny because her work can have such darkness. And she literally said to me, you remind me of my mom. Like, something in your spirit is just right for my mother. So do whatever you're doing. And I just kind of, she was like, I embrace it all.
Oh, wow. That must have been very freeing, very liberating.
It was. And you know what? She's also like such a smarty that she was not only starring in it, directing it, writing it, producing it. And I think that was one of the first times that I was working with a woman that was in charge like that. And by the way, that should have happened a long time prior, but it was really a delight to have like a female-driven, female-led team like that.
Up next.
The dog spread the infection through his son. You just got to check. Let him do a check, ma'am. That's all we got to do.
It's all she has is just a little bronchitis.
I think she bites me. Oh my God, do you know who that is? Do you know who that girl is? That is Joey King. That's Joey King.
Have you kept in touch with Joey, or did you bump into each other at last year's Emmys?
Wait, how did you know that? Are you like, you are incredible. So what happened was I had seen her, star rise and rise, and it was absolutely no surprise to me, of course. And I said, I don't know if you remember me, and she was so delightful. She's like, of course I remember you. I bit you. I was like all over, like,
I turned you into a zombie.
I turned you into a zombie, exactly. I infected you. So she totally remembered. And I was with my son at the time and introduced them, and he had seen the kissing booth. And I think he was like more in awe that I had played her mother than of any other thing I've done. So it was lovely.
Up next.
You have to consider everything.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I remember that exact moment. She betrays me. She and I had been such friends in the CIA. Not Taya. Taya would never betray another person. She is a loyal, deeply brilliant, intelligent, incredible actress to work with. I would work with her in anything. We had done a pilot, and here's another theme. I had done a pilot with her that never went. And basically, when I worked with Taya at that point, I thought, oh my God, to do anything with her. And there was a role in the pilot for this, Madam Secretary, that had like 2 lines. And my agents were like, you can't do that. You're in a place in your career where doing 2 lines doesn't look very good. And I was like, I just want to be in that room with Taya. And sure enough, I begged for the role. I was like overseas at the time and flew back and did it. And then I got a phone call later this summer saying, guess what? Show's picked up and they want you to be part of it. And I went, yes. The 2 lines grew. I wish I were a writer or a producer. I would literally say, let's put Taya in something right now. Let's put her in with the greats like, Charlize Theron and, Meryl Streep.
Speaking of winners, up next.
See over there? That's your cafe.
So it is.
5 blocks away.
I can't even speak when I see this scene in a way, because that particular apartment and that particular setting, looking over the Seine, which it did, it looked over the water, and Tony in his scarf and beret and being truly in Paris, like that's not a soundstage. I swear I thought, okay, it's done. Like this is heaven. And it doesn't get more grand. And it was so amazing, and that this character had like a rebirth, because I felt like I got to have rebirth too. I'm in my 50s, I'm definitely at a point in my life where you sometimes go, what next? And I just thought, well, we can all be reborn. We just have to travel to Paris and have some croissants.
I love, love, love this show, and I'm clearly not alone. When you signed on for The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, did you know that it would be so beloved, so well received?
From the second I read the pilot, it felt like it was so brilliant and so funny.
Yes.
And Rachel Brosnahan, when I met her, is such a special, unique human. And I thought, I hope the world responds the way I'm responding, but I actually never know. So I didn't have an idea at all. And oh, this is funny. We were invited to the Golden Globes that year and we were sitting really far back. So I don't think anyone thought we would win. And I remember they called our show's name. We actually won. And you could tell everybody turned around like, wait, who are they? Like, what is that show? You know? So we, at the point that we were even starting to garner some real attention that way, I don't even think the audience had caught on yet.
Marin, thank you so much for surfing by. And you can watch The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel on Amazon Prime. See you next time on Couch Surfing. Bye.
Bye.